Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. I know it's always hard to take some time out of your morning as well to attend these, so thank you for joining. Today we have our lovely Rachel, our New South Wales trainer, joining us today.
Hi everyone, how are you?
So Rachel will be in the background answering any of your questions. So if you do have questions during this presentation, please pop them down into the chat. Just make sure that you have that everyone can see it. So if you just want to change that to everyone can see everyone's questions and answers, and pop any questions you have down. Rachel will be answering them live for you. If we can't get to all of your questions, we will come back and answer them one-on-one for you as well. So please feel free to ask as much as you would like. So this morning we are going to be going through our how to prep for peels. So today is all about prepping the skin, and I know we're coming into peel season, so this is the perfect time to start getting those skins ready and primed so that we can hit them with our peel series, or even if it's not a peel, if we can hit them with our stronger modalities that may need a little bit more skin prepping involved as well. So don't just think of this as just for peels, think of this as you're combining modalities. If you're doing even needling, RF needling, maybe lasers, anything that is a little bit more downtime that you want to look after the health of their skin. Next month, Rachel will actually be hosting the next one. So she's going to go over targeting specific skin conditions. So with that one, what we're going to be looking at is a few common skin conditions that you see coming through your clinics all the time, and looking at how we can first understand what they are, how to recognize them, and then how to treat them. We will then be going through over the next few and breaking those down a little bit further. So we're going to touch on them with our targeting specific skin concerns. And then we're going to be looking at just pigmentation on the following one. And then following that, we'll do acne. So we will be breaking those down and delving a lot deeper into those as well. If anyone does have any that they would like us to go over, or any hot topics that you want covered, please pop them down. If you want to put them down into our chat or email them over to us, then feel free to do that. And then that way we can then put on a class that is something that you're interested in as well. So let's get started. So let's look at why we prep. So what is the purpose of this? Because I know some people come into our clinics and they just want to have that treatment and they want it done there and then, and their skin is not primed and it's not healthy. And then what happens? We have a complication, we have a reaction, we have poor healing, and then we're left trying to fix all that. And it kind of then takes us 5 steps backwards. So we want to make sure that the skin is healthy, it's primed, and it's ready to go. If we have a really good prepped skin, we have a really healthy skin, and a really healthy skin will heal quicker. You'll get a much faster result with your treatments as well. And we get less downtime. We also then stop any complications from occurring, any post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is the biggest thing. So if we're treating a client, sometimes we don't see their pigmentation come up straight away. Sometimes it's not till 3rd or 4th treatment that all of a sudden we get this post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and we're going, where did that come from? And it's because they possibly are a higher Fitzpatrick, and we haven't treated them accordingly and put enough things in there to stop all of that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from occurring. So really important to do that. We also want a really thin epidermal barrier. We don't want a compromised epidermal barrier, and that's really important to understand that. I know we did, our last class was all about the skin barrier function and the microbiome and the stratum corneum, and it's all about making that healthy and strong. And if we've got that healthy and strong, but it's still nice and thin, and we're not got all these dead skin cells built up over the top, our products are going to absorb better, and they're going to absorb more evenly, which we get then a really even uniform penetration of our active ingredients. We're going to heal really nice and quickly as well. We're going to have less downtime for that client, which is essential when treating. And no client wants downtime anymore. Everyone's in a rush and everyone needs to move on with their routines. So when we look at pre-treating, we want to actually look at key ingredients to support this. So when we are getting their home care products ready, we want to make sure that we have these key aspects. Now, it's important to understand that we don't want to have a separate product for all of these, because that's a lot of products in our client's regime. So we want to make sure, and a lot of the time, a lot of the ingredients in the products will overlap. So we don't want to overwhelm our clients, but we do want a cherolytic. We want a cherolytic to go in there and increase our cell turnover, get the skin nice and healthy and strong. We're already going to start to lift off maybe some of those age cells, pigmented cells, and then we're going to get a better delivery of our active ingredients. We want some type of retinol or collagen support. So not everyone can have retinol. So we are going to break this down for you as well and look at different types of retinol or collagen support. We want to get that really strong, healthy mattress to the skin. We want to increase that collagen and elastin. We want to get that snapback. We want to get that resilience skin happening as well. So we want to start to increase that before we start to peel. We'll get a better result. And then antioxidants. We all know antioxidants are amazing at fighting those free radicals, keeping that skin really healthy, stopping those breakdown and oxidization. We want to make sure that we've got lots of antioxidants in our diet. Now, lightening agents. Lightening agents are really important. So even if you are not concerned with pigmentation that you're treating that client with, we still do need lightening agents and tyrosinase inhibitors to really help that skin prevent any post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from occurring. But definitely, if you are concerned with pigmentation, that we are stopping any excess pigmentation from occurring as well. And then sun protection. We all know that is mandatory and non-negotiable. I'm very firm with, if you don't want to use sun protection, you don't have a treatment with me today. So you have to kind of be strong with that. And that is really something that is crucial, especially when having high-end peels or treatments that they are using their sun protection. So hopefully that's not a fight for your clients, you and your clients anymore about using that. So we are going to break all of these down, and hopefully this will help you on your prepping journey with your clients. So first, we're going to start to look at AHAs and BHAs. And I love this little picture of our little dead skin cell half lifted. I had this up on my screen yesterday, and someone walked past my desk and went, "Oh, that is disgusting." But I love seeing this beautiful unhealthy dead skin cell that we're going to now start to slough away as well and make them all nice and flat. So let's look at our AHAs and BHAs and what they are doing. So we want to make sure that we are increasing that cell turnover. We're getting off all of those dead skin cells that are all maybe standing at different angles and not lying down flat. Now, AHAs and BHAs, we know that they work slightly different, and I'm going to break that down for you in our next slide. But what we want to do is we want to lift up those dead skin cells. We want to increase our new production of our skin cells as well. We know that as we age, our cell turnover decreases and slows down. So we want to help that along and give that a little boost up. We also know that AHAs will help to lighten and brighten the skin. It will also help with fine lines and correcting any wrinkles as well, and also helping to support our collagen and elastin production. And then we know how great BHA is for declogging as well. So if we have someone with an acne or an oily congested skin, that BHAs are fantastic for that. So these are some of our types of acids, just to have a little run through and have a look. There's lots of different acids in here for us. So we have our glycolic. This is also a water soluble, it's slightly larger molecule as well. It's great at creating those little micro channels within the skin. Now, I like to use glycolic alongside retinol. I find that they partner really well together. The glycolic will help create those micro channels in the skin, and then that retinol will go down through those micro channels and start to release and work deeper down into the skin and not on that top surface layer. So I do like our glycolic for that as well. Our lactic, probably one of my favorite acids to use. It's incredibly hydrating on the skin. So if you have a really dehydrated skin, lactic acid is fantastic for that. It's a little bit more gentle as well. So we've got our different ones that we could suggest for our clients. Now, our malic. Malic usually comes from our apples or our fruits. Again, it is a water-soluble acid, and it is less irritating than our glycolics. So it's slightly more gentle. So if you do have someone with a slightly more irritated skin, then malic is a great acid to use. Now, azelaic acid. Azelaic acid is fantastic. It's a very gentle exfoliant on the skin, but it's fantastic for anti-inflammatory. It's great tyrosinase inhibitor. Fantastic if you have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I also do like to use it for acne. incredibly antibacterial. You've also got that anti-inflammatory in there for acne, so it's great to work with an acneic skin. Our kojic acid comes from our mushrooms, and it's fantastic as a tyrosinase inhibitor. It's also very antibacterial as well, so it also works really well for acne. And then our last little one here is our salicylic, which is a great little acid. We know salicylic is fantastic for declogging that pore, very antiseptic as well. So great little one if you've got any congestion, comedones. If you're working with, say, an AHA and a BHA, we're going to work at both ends. So if we've got our glycolic or our lactic, that's going to work from the bottom up and help to break down all those glue bonds and lift up those dead skin cells. And then you've got that salicylic that's going to come down and then declog. So we're working at both ends. So fantastic if you've got an acne or congested clients to use an AHA and a BHA together. So I know I've touched on a lot of this already, but with our AHAs, we really do want to help support our collagen and elastin. We want to help break those glue bonds in our little brick wall, and we want to lift those all up. And mainly our AHAs that we'll use is our glycolic, our lactic, our malic, our tetric, and our citric. So you'll see this a lot in your different skincare, and different skincare sometimes focus on one acid over the other, and that's okay. But if you do have different acids that you can utilize, have a look at what you actually want to target in the skin or what the skin is actually presenting at the time. And maybe you might go over one, choose one more than another, especially if you have maybe a stronger skin or a more sensitized skin. And then we've got our BHA here, which is going to help to penetrate that pore, help reducing that sebaceous gland activity and helping to control that excess sebum production. It's going to declog as well. So it's really going to help to loosen up all of that congestion in that follicle to help make our exfoliation and easier, and our extraction process easier as well. Now, not everyone can handle an acid, and that's okay. And depending on the level of the peel that we are going to be treating, if we're working more superficial in the skin and we've got a more sensitive, compromised skin, we might not want to go for a strong acid. We might only be able to have a enzyme in there as well. So depends what you are going to be using is what we can also, what we would suggest. So our non-acid cherolytics, we have our enzymes and we also have our physical exfoliation. And we know how great our enzymes are. We've got our pumpkin, our vitamin C, and our papaya. And these I like to refer to as my little Pac-Man. So these are going to go in and munch away like that little Pac-Man, all of those dead skin cells, and work on that more top layer. And then we have our physical exfoliation. So things like our scrubs, microdermabrasions, or a loofah, or something that is mechanically scrubbing the skin. A lot of the times you will find that a mechanical might be paired with an enzyme or might also be paired with a glycolic. Sometimes we have triple threats, which I absolutely love. So my triple threats that I refer to are physical, enzyme, and acid. And they sometimes will give you one of the best exfoliations around, but you have to be able to be a strong, resilient skin for that, or at least build up to that. So depending on what we want to do, we want to pick that right level of exfoliation. Be cautious with physical exfoliations and granular scrubs if you do have someone with a really sensitized skin, and that might be more irritating on their skin. And also be careful if they're an acneic skin, if they've got pustules. We don't want to burst open those pustules and spread that bacteria through the rest of the skin as well. So make sure we're choosing which one that we want to use correctly. Microdermabrasion is a great way at prepping the skin and combining your treatment. So you might do a microdermabrasion 1 week and then a peel 2 weeks later, or a week or 4 weeks, depending on the level of your peel and the degree of your microdermabrasion that you've done as well. So combining those is really fantastic. Now, hopefully everyone's going well with that. If there were any questions and Rachel's answered them, we can come back to that at the end if there are any that we haven't been able to answer. So now let's look at retinol. And I love retinol. And well, I love retinol now, but I never used to like retinol before because I have a really sensitized skin, and everything irritates my skin really easily. And I did find there was a lot of retinols out there on the market that I've used in the past that just gave me surface burning, peeling, irritation. I had just an irritated skin after using retinol. And so I was very scared off to use retinol, but all retinols, not every retinol, sorry, is created equal. And so finding that right one in that right formulation is really quite key. And we really want to be cautious with just using pure retinols in a high dose that delivers straight on that epidermis and will cause that surface burning and peeling and irritation. We want something that's going to be delivered into the skin and slowly released over time, which will then give us a better result. So now that I've found the perfect retinol for myself, I don't get any surface burning or peeling, but I get all the benefits of retinol, and I love my retinol for that collagen support of my skin. So let's look at what is a retinol. So a retinol is a form of vitamin A. So our body converts our vitamin A into retinoic acid. So this allows us for that deeper penetration of our ingredients, which is then going to stimulate our collagen production. And that's really important. We really want to increase that collagen production in the skin. We want to get, like we showed before, we want to get that healthy mattress of that skin. We want to get that support, that collagen. We want to get that snapback and that beautiful resilient skin as well. So having a retinol in someone's skincare diet is really quite key. And so we want to make sure that we're choosing the correct one for what their skincare or their skin condition is. So we want to make sure that we are choosing the right one. So when we look at this as well, our retinol does stimulate our cell turnover. So if we've got our lactic and our glycolic or one of our acids, and we're using retinol as well, we're going to get this amazing, beautiful, healthy skin. We're going to get all those dead skin cells lifted. We're encouraging new healthy skin cells to grow and develop. Then we're also allowing that little microchannel, like I said before, of that retinol to go into the skin and actually deliver where it needs to go down, because we know that retinol or collagen doesn't produce in the on the top layer of our epidermis. So delivering it on our top stratum corneum will have no benefit. We want to make sure that we're pushing that collagen deeper down so it penetrates where it needs to target and stimulate our collagen production. So there's different strengths of vitamin A. So our lowest here is our retinol palmitate, and then as you see, it increases up to our retinoic acid. So generally in most of our skincare that we'll use our retinol palmitate and our retinol. And that's usually the ones that we typically use as skincare therapists, but we may come across our retinol aldehyde as well as our retinoic acid as well. And they get stronger and they metabolize quicker as they go up in levels. So our retinol palmitate is one of our most gentle forms of retinol that we will use. And it's actually safe for everybody to use. So anyone can use our retinol palmitate. When we get into things more like our retinol, this is where we want to start to slowly build it up in the skin. I always go by our little 3-2-1. So every third day, our second day, and then every day. So if someone goes straight into retinol and uses it every day, what we are going to see is we are going to see surface burning. We might see some little peeling, a little bit of dryness and irritation. And it's just the skin. We've increased that cell turnover so much, so rapidly, that the skin is not having time to cope and keep up with it. So introducing it nice and slowly into the skin just allows our skin to adjust and be nice and healthy at that same time, and not sort of go into, okay, well, now we need to stop and heal that skin. So do it 3, 2, and 1. Some people may never get up to every day. Some people might always be in every second day. Always work with the skins. Reassess your clients. Ask them how it's feeling. Give them a call a couple of days later and see. We might want to just adjust to that and pull it back, because everybody's skin is different. So we really need to work with our clients. So when we look at our benefits of our retinol, we have so many benefits of retinol. We could do a whole topic on this class, but if we recap it, we're going to be fantastic at preventing collagen loss. So that is the biggest one that we are looking at. We're really going to help to prevent that collagen loss, and then also to stimulate that new collagen as well. So retinol deactivates our enzyme that breaks down our collagen. So if we're helping to stop that breakdown from occurring, we're helping to control that and increase our collagen production. We're also going to stimulate our fibroblast cells, and we know our fibroblast cells are going to trigger our collagen production to occur. So if we are doing a peel that we have really want to target wrinkles or scars or loss of elasticity, we do want to do and make sure we have retinol in their diet, so we can support that during our home care process at home, and we're going to get a much quicker, faster result. We're going to help to also repair the cell communication done between damaged cells. So we're going to help to repair that normal function that a damaged cell might have as well, and help to get that normal uniform process of our cells regenerating and stopping that breakdown from occurring. Retinol is also fantastic, like I mentioned before, about scarring. So if you've got acne scars, pitting, any type of scarring on the skin, retinols will actually help to stimulate that collagen, get rid of all of that broken down, degraded collagen that's already there, and get that beautiful new healthy collagen from producing. And then you're going to help to, you're going to start to see that wrinkle or that acne scar or that enlarged pore even to reduce in appearance as well and flatten, which is amazing. So if you don't use retinol for scarring, definitely give it a go because it is fantastic for that. Now, I like to use encapsulated retinol technology. And the reason why I do like to use the encapsulated retinol technology is, like I mentioned previously before, I have a really sensitized skin. And I want to make sure that I'm releasing that retinol where it needs to go to form and reproduce our collagen. So when we have this encapsulated retinol, we have a multi-layered sphere that actually has our oil-soluble actives and in the little structure. And what it does is it swells on the skin surface. So when it comes in contact with the skin, it swells up and it basically pushes the cells open, allowing for that encapsulation to go in and penetrate. And then as it goes and travels into the skin, each little capsule will slowly break down and then release that retinol where we want it to deliver to get a better, longer lasting result with less irritation on the skin. So I love my encapsulated retinol. So if you're not using encapsulated retinol yet, have a look at your different skincare and find one that does have it for you. Now that's our retinol, but again, not everyone can use retinol. So if you do have someone who has maybe rosacea, really sensitized skin, someone who is just can't use retinols, maybe they're allergic to it, we want to use something that will still form our collagen support, but in a non-retinol version. So then we can start to look at either our vitamin C is fantastic for supporting our collagen, or we can look at peptides. So we can look at our biomimetic peptides for that. So we can still support collagen and increase our collagen without having to put a retinol for those clients that can't. Or if we want to combine them together as well, that's also amazing. So we have different forms of vitamin C in here. We have our tetradecyl ascorbate, we have our L-absorbic acid, our magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, and our sodium ascorbyl phosphate as well. So these are our most common forms of vitamin C that we see in our industry. And these are both water and oil-soluble forms of vitamin C. They're going to help to support our collagen. They're going to brighten our skin and provide us that collagen support without any irritation on the skin as well. So collagen support is fantastic to be used for vitamin C. Use vitamin C for our collagen support. Sorry, getting tongue-tied this morning. And then we've got our peptides. So we've got our palmitoyl tripeptide, our palmitoyl diapeptide, our palmitoyl tetrapeptide, and our palmitoyl oligopeptide. So all of these here is our biomimetic peptides that help to support and mimic that retinoic effect on the skin and give us that increase of our collagen production and elasticity in the skin as well. So these are fantastic. If you have a client that can't use retinol, go to your peptides because they are fantastic at being able to mimic that look and feel of that retinol on the skin. And then we're going to move into our antioxidants. So antioxidants, we all talk about antioxidants and how amazing they are and how important they are. So it's really, I know we already know what antioxidants do, but the main purpose of our antioxidants is to fight our free radical damage. And our free radical damage is all around us everywhere, our free radical particles, and we want to really stop that damage from occurring on the skin. So when we look at what a free radical is, we have a molecular structure that is unbalanced, right? So what it happens is it doesn't have enough little electrons there. And what it does is it attaches itself to another little molecular structure and then rebalances this one. But then now we've unbalanced the next one across. And we keep getting that chain of events from occurring, and then we get our breakdown occurring. So what we want to do is we want to give it another little electron. We want to neutralize that free radical, and then that is now stable, and that stops that breakdown from occurring. So it's then not going to have to go on to the next one. So we want to really stop that risk of cell damage. Okay, when we damage a cell, we stop its ability to function correctly. And depending what that cell is doing, because we have so many cells and have so many different purposes for them, we want to really make sure that we are not stopping that breakdown from occurring, because then it's not going to function correctly. We also want to stop that breakdown of that collagen fibers. We want to stop that inflammation on the skin. And we wanted to get it nice and beautiful and strong. So there are so many free radicals around us: pollution, smoke, the air, toxins, everything. Sometimes even our skincare that could be quite harmful to our skin. So we always want to make sure that we've got our antioxidant protection in there as well, definitely the sun. So we want to make sure that we are looking after that. Generally, when you have your SPFs will have antioxidants. Most of your serums will have an antioxidant. Your moisturizers will have an antioxidant. So there are antioxidants everywhere in our skin diet. So most of our beneficial antioxidants that we do use in our skincare are things like our resveratrol, a hyaluronic acid, green tea, acai, pomegranate, centella, and grapeseed extract. So these are really potent antioxidants that really help support our skin. So we want to make sure we are neutralizing these. Vitamin C is a fantastic antioxidant as well. So this is also going to help with collagen. So if we've got vitamin C, that's our antioxidant, it's our skin brightener in there. It can also work as a tyrosinase inhibitor. And then we've got that collagen support. We've got that multiple function, most amazing little ingredient in there. We've also got our vitamin A, which will help to neutralize that collagen breakdown, which is a fantastic free radical fighter. And then we've got our vitamin E in there as well, which will help to stop the breakdown of that oxidation process on the skin. So lots of different antioxidants that we can find in our products. Now we're going to move into our lightening agents. Now, our lightening agents are really key. And if anyone has ever been to any of my classes or any of our classes that we put on here, we always talk about tyrosinase inhibitors and how important they are at protecting the skin and prepping the skin. Now, we need to use tyrosinase inhibitors, whether it was no matter what Fitzpatrick we are, because everyone is prone to damage to the skin. Everyone is prone to pigmentation. So we really need to make sure that we are looking at that correctly as well. So if you do want to know a lot more about pigmentation and tyrosinase inhibitors and things like that, please join us for our next class or 2 classes after for pigmentation, which will delve really deeply into that. So let's look at our lightening agents. So we always want to protect our little melanocytes, and our melanocytes are where we distribute our pigment, and that's produced in our basal layer of our epidermis. So we want to make sure that what we are putting on the skin is going to travel down and help control that where it is actually being produced. So this is just a quick little lesson on melanogenesis. So when we have our melanogenesis process and we're producing that little melanocyte, or that inside that little melanocyte is producing that little, we call it our little umbrella of pigment on the skin, we start with our amino acid, which is our tyrosine. Now, our tyrosine then produces tyrosinase, which when we look at this, and we always say we want a tyrosinase inhibitor, we're stopping that in its track at the beginning, because if we can control that and stop that at the beginning, we're going to get a better result and be able to control it better than trying to stop it down further where it's too late. So our enzyme it produces is our tyrosinase. Then we get an oxidation process, then it turns into DOPA. DOPA then stimulates tyrosinase again. Tyrosinase, we then go back through oxidation, then we go back through to dopaquinone, and then from there, that's where it produces its color. So does it produce our eumelanin, which is our darker skins, or our pheomelanin, which is our lighter Fitzpatrick skins? So depending which one it's producing is which branch it goes off to. But if we have our tyrosinase inhibitors in here, we're controlling that production of that melanin from the beginning. And so that is really key. If you've got a higher Fitzpatrick that is prone to pigment, you want to stop that in its track. If you've got someone who has a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, you want to stop that in its track. So I always like to say, always treat up a little bit higher. So if you are unsure of anyone's what they are Fitzpatrick scale they're on, if you're ever unsure of it, always go one up higher, and that just makes it the treatment safer and less adverse reactions. So it doesn't stop what you're doing, but it just gives you that little bit more control in the outcome of the treatment. So when we look at our different skin brighteners, we have some natural skin brighteners such as our kojic acid, which we also know is an exfoliation as well. We've got our bearberry and we've got our licorice. So these all help to target discoloration. They're going to help to improve clarity and brightness into the skin and also reduce the appearance of redness. So these are fantastic to work along post-inflammatory pigmentation, especially even in acne as well, because they do get a lot of that inflammation, that redness, and that PIH in the skin. So definitely use your tyrosinase inhibitors is a must. So never do a treatment without them. And then lastly, we're going to look at our sun protection. Now, sun protection, we all know how important that is, especially here in Australia where we've got such damaging UV rays to the skin. So we always want to make sure that we're looking for UVA and UVB rays. And that's really important because our UVA is our aging rays and our UVB is our burning rays. And when we look at the different strength of these, the UVA is a much more direct rays and it will penetrate the skin deeper. But then our UVB is a scattered ray. So by the time it comes down and hits our skin and we feel it burning, our UVA has already penetrated deeper down and done that damage. So by the time we felt that burning, that UVA has already taken effect. So really make sure that you use both UVA and UVB when treating our clients or on ourselves every day. So we want to make sure that we are protecting our skin. It's really important we ask our clients to reapply as well, especially if they are someone who goes out in the sun during their lunch break or is going to be out during the day or even in the afternoon, and they are going to be getting those rays. If we put that on in the morning, they're not going to get any protection in that afternoon as well. So a little fact here. So according to the Skin Cancer Association, studies show that it only takes 2 short exposures to UVA rays, approximately 2 hours of strong sun over 2 days, to increase production of the collagen degrading enzymes. So that is really alarming because we think of how many people go into the sun and never put sun protection on, and then we will see that on their skin later on down the track. We won't always see it straight away, but we will see those sometimes you'll see that cross link of collagen on the skin where you see that breakdown occurring and it looks like little cross hatching all over the skin, deep lines and wrinkles. It looks really quite thick. If we can protect their skin from the beginning, then we're going to get a better control out of that as well. We also know that when we do our peels, we are going to be sensitizing the skin. We're going to be thinning that skin. We've put all of those acids in there. So if they go out in the sun and don't wear a sun protection, their risk of burning and complications is quite high. And you can see here in my little diagram that we had here with our little mineral sunscreens and our chemical sunscreens, we have different options. Now, some people love to have chemical, some people love to have physical. A lot of the times physical is great for those real sensitized skins that causes a lot of, less irritation on the skin. So a lot of our sensitive, more red clients will prefer a physical and a more natural SPF, but then we also have our chemical sunscreens as well. And a lot of our SPFs have a mix of both. So we can see here that our mineral sunscreens will actually help to reflect any of those rays and they'll bounce them off, whereas a chemical sunscreen actually helps to bring them in and then will neutralize them in the skin. So they do work slightly differently. Now, so that's what we're going to do to prep our skin. They're the ingredients we need to prep our skin. And now you all have different skincare ranges in your clinics. So just make sure that you are using and choosing the correct products with those ingredients to get that skin nice and healthy. Again, not just for peeling, but for any type of modality treatment that you are doing. So now we're going to look at choosing our correct solution for our client, because we don't want to go too hard too quickly, because we know if we go straight up to that higher end peel, we can cause complications if we haven't prepped their skin and worked slowly within the skin. So first we need to establish our client's needs. What are their concerns? What are they doing at home? And what is their end goal? We also need to look at the pH level of the peel that we're using. And the reason why we need to look at the pH level is we need to see where is their skin at now, what products are they on, and how we can work. So I've got the PHA scale coming up in a second. I'll go through that in a little bit more. Fitzpatrick is really important. We really want to make sure that we are understanding what Fitzpatrick they are so we can prep that skin correctly and also then reduce our complications. And the last thing is hereditary influences. Now, I really like to look at this a slightly different way. So I like to go with a client and ask them, how do you heal? Now, a lot of clients, sometimes they don't know all of their background. Sometimes they don't really want to say, or they might just forget. So I always say, how do you heal? If you get a pimple or a mosquito bite, does it go sort of pink and then back to normal straight away? Or does it sort of go that pinky and then turn purpley and it stays dark for a really long time? If they say they go purpley and stay dark and it doesn't heal straight away, there has got a slightly higher Fitzpatrick. There's a lot of melanin production happening in there. So we would need to put more tyrosinase inhibitors into that skin to then cope with that. And I'm the best example of that as well in my family. So we look like a skin type Fitzpatrick 2. But we have a lot of hereditary influences that's a little bit darker. So we have that more European background. So if I get a pimple or a mosquito bite, I don't heal very well. I will will turn purpley, and then it will take a long time to heal. So I get a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So to prevent that from occurring, and sometimes we don't see that till maybe the third or the fourth treatment in, I need to make sure I've got my sun protection on at all times. And I also need to put in a bit more tyrosinase inhibitors and anti-inflammatories into the skin. That will really help to control that and reduce any complications. So first, when you're establishing your client's needs, make sure you do a thorough consultation for your client. Ask lots of questions. What are their concerns? What are they currently using at home? What is their home care routine like? What SPF are they using? How committed are they at having to this treatment? Can they commit to a series? Or are they going to be someone who is the one and done sort of client who will just want that one treatment and move on? So we need to make sure that we have got all of this. Then we can establish their correct home care and prepping routine, and then also the peel series that we are going to work with. Now, when we want to look at the pH, I love my little pH scale, and I think we use this with all the classes, but I do just love to keep going back over this as well. And I was having this conversation with my family the other day about understanding it, which was really quite fun. So when we look at our pH scale, our skin sort of sits at that 4.5 to 5.5. And then when people look at products on in the supermarket or even the chemist, or we see advertisements on TV, and it'll say it's pH balanced or pH neutral. Yes, it is pH balanced to the pH scale, but our skin is not balanced to the pH scale. Our skin sits slightly more acidic. So if we are using something that says pH neutral or pH balanced, we're actually taking it from that 4.5 to 5.5 up to a 7. So it's going slightly into that more alkaline. So we're moving it away a little bit. So if we have someone using one of our chemist brands that say pH neutral, then it will say sit at that 7, and then we go to do a peel on them and we drop their skin down to a 2. That's a massive jump. So what will happen is we will get spiking, we'll get irritation, we could get burning on the skin. So it's really important that we are using the correct home care that is all sitting at that pH of our skin level. If they are using soap, that's up at about a 10. So we need to be really careful with anyone using soap and water because that's going to spike dramatically. Then there are all different levels of peels that we use. So some peels are more gentle and a bit more superficial, and they'll sit at around the level of 4. As we go into our deeper and stronger acids, they might drop down to a 3 or a 2. So that's a big jump in the skin as well. So it's really important that we don't always go straight to that lower pH of our peel. We want to sometimes go down slowly, or if we do go down to a stronger pH, just make sure their skin is prepped a little bit longer and it's nice and healthy. So that way there's going to be no complication and we can go a little bit deeper. The deeper the higher our acid and the lower our pH, the more intense our peel is going to be. So just make sure that you've allowed enough healing time between our treatments and also the prep time as well. Hopefully this pH scale, everybody enjoys it as well and understands it a bit better. So when we look at our pH and our peeling percentages, so you can see that we've got our enzyme, we've got our superficial and our medium and deep. Now, as we go with a lower pH and a higher percent of our peel, that peel is going to travel deeper into the layers of the skin. So like I said, let's start a bit more gently and then work our way down. It's easier to go to work more gently and go slowly down than to go deep and have a complication and then spend all your time healing the skin. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your peel. Know your percentages, know your pH, because that is crucial with choosing the correct peel for your clients. Also, not just the correct percentage of the acid, but what acid is it? Is it the right acid we want to treat that client's skin condition? And we know that there's multiple acids and we know that acids do different things. So make sure you're choosing the right acid for your clients. Sometimes one acid doesn't fit everyone. So it's really important to get that acid as well correct. Now, when we're looking at our Fitzpatrick scale, it's also important to understand this. Now, there's lots of quizzes online that you can do to do a pH scale. I like to just ask lots of questions for my clients. First, I'll sort of, these are always on the consultation form with how do they burn, when was their last sun exposure, having a look at their skin as well, but then really put into how do you how do you heal is a really crucial one. And I think a game changer now to understand how their skin actually heals instead of just doing a couple of peels and realizing, okay, there's all this pigmentation coming up. Maybe I should have prepped you for longer. So the way I like to look at the prepping is Fitzpatrick 1 and 2, I will prep the skin for 2 weeks on home care first. So 2 weeks on type 1 and 2, I will prep their skin before I will do their first treatment. Or you might want to do a facial or a gentle enzyme peel on that first treatment along with their home care, and that will start their prepping for as they go up into their next products. If I've got a Fitzpatrick type 3, I will prep their skin for 3 weeks, a 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and 6 weeks. So I just add those extra weeks in there to prep their skin for longer with those tyrosinase inhibitors, those anti-inflammatories, that retinol collagen support, those AHAs or BHAs, those cherolytics, and that sun protection. Beautiful, healthy skin, then it's going to not have any post complications. So just recapping, if I am a skin type 2, but I don't heal very well, and I've got that risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, I will prep myself as a 3. Okay, so I will add that extra week of my prepping, and I might even go, as you go up in your Fitzpatrick, you might want to put more tyrosinase inhibitors. You might want to put more retinol into their skin. If you've got someone on a skin type 1, they might not need a lot of tyrosinase inhibitors. They might be able to just be fine with some vitamin C products and something a little bit more gentle on the skin. They might also just need vitamin C for their collagen support. They might not need retinol. So depending on what you're treating and what their Fitzpatrick is, this will all be different. But it also makes it really fun because we can customize for our clients and not one product fits all. So if anyone has any more questions on the Fitzpatrick scale, pop them down into the chat. If Rachel can't answer them, then we can also answer them together as a group. Now, I've got a new little spin on working out our little programs here. So we all love our little analogies and our gym analogies here, but we've got our different program levels here. And I know sometimes when we also go to the gym, if we have someone who is never been to the gym, completely unhealthy, and they try and do a boot camp or an advanced class, chances are they're going to be on the floor struggling to breathe, which probably is me. Let's be realistic. If anyone knows me, I will be struggling. I sit at that beginner intermediate level. And we need to work slowly. We don't want to take someone from here to here in the first one because it's not going to be a very good recovery. They also think about it after that gym workout, you can't move, you can't walk, you can't bend because everything has gone into overdrive and that recovery process is so much longer. But if we take someone and work slowly with them, and maybe they are someone who's not used to peels, or they're not used to skincare treatments at home, anything like that, we want to slowly work with them. Put them as that beginner in that warm-up phase. So make sure you've prepped their skin. Maybe we might do an enzyme first. We might do 2 enzymes first before we move into an acid and then a higher strength peel again. Now, if we have someone who is a regular client, comes in for lots of treatment, has had peels before, maybe, and they're on lots of home care and been doing everything, we might be able to go into more of an intermediate workout for them, or an intermediate program. So we might go straight into maybe 1 enzyme and an acid. We might skip the enzyme and go straight to an acid, and then do a few and work our way up. If we have someone who has had multiple treatments with us, maybe they've had series of peels before with us, who has been on home care for years, we might be able to go a bit more intense and hardcore, stronger acids. We might be able to go into our even Jessner blends at the end. So depending on our client, we want to work slowly, because we don't want to hit them with this big, okay, now we need to go into recovery and work backwards, because we hadn't given that skin time to heal and prep and all of that in between. So if we look at what our workout program, our warm-up program is for our client. So this is for someone who just wants, maybe they're a little bit time poor. Maybe we want to help to reduce any injury to their skin or inflammation. They might have a sensitive skin. It might be unbalanced. Maybe it's an acne skin where their microbiome's all over the place. Maybe they've been using those products from the chemist, or something that's dried and stripped their skin. So we maybe want to work really much more gentle in their skin. It might be a summer treatment plan. So we don't want to really peel in winter, but we also don't want to say no to our clients. So if you have more enzyme peels, or more something that is more gentle and superficial for our clients, we can do those in our summer months and still keep their skin nice and healthy. So when we do go into winter and we want to go a little bit more hardcore, we've had all that work in that has prepped that skin already during that time. Also, if you're a resort or a no downtime business model, this is a great program to put the clients on. Keep it simple, keep it so that they maybe don't need any skin prepping. Maybe they just need a really gentle enzyme, superficial top layer surface peels as well. So just remember, there's a peel and a series for everybody and every different business model as well. So keep that in mind. When we're looking at our workout program, so this is someone who maybe wants a little bit of mild to moderate downtime. Maybe there might be a little bit of surface peeling on the skin. Maybe it might be a little bit more intense of a treatment. Someone wanting to see a bit more clinical results in the skin. They might have pigmentation, they might have breakouts, they might have wrinkles. It might be a clinic or a spa or a medi spa as well, who wants to focus on more heavy duty treatments, more stronger treatments for your clients, get more results for your clients. So these are ones that we would want to go sort of more about acids, our level 1 and our level 2 acids for our client. And then lastly, we have our boot camp program. So this is for someone who really has that hardcore skin. Maybe it's that leather handbaggy skin, those really deep pitted acne scarring, someone really wanting to get those results. They might have deep pigment, melasma, someone who really wants to take that skin to that next level and challenge that skin. So remember, don't ever start here. If you've hadn't worked with that skin before and it's nice and healthy and strong and prepped and primed, then we're going to get really those clinical results. So we might be able to do even a boot camp at the very end of our client's program. So they might start in the warm-up, then they might move to the workout, and then finish with a boot camp peel. So they're going to be that higher end peel, that low pH, that high acid strength. So if we look at a little typical program for our client, we might do skin prep and our warm-up on day 1. Then we might do another warm-up for our client. We might do 2 or 3 workouts. and then we might finish with that boot camp and then go into that maintenance. So we don't always have to stay on that same pill, which I really love to mix our pills. So if you wanted to go and not mix them together in the one treatment, but maybe the first treatment go lower end and go enzyme superficial, the next time you might go level 1 acid and go a little bit deeper down into the skin, then you might go into a slightly deeper one. You might find you might want to just mix it up a little bit and go into a little bit more hydration and calm their skin. You might on the 3rd or the 4th pill even drop back down into a warm-up pill, so go back down to an enzyme. Then you might go into a boot camp. You might finish with an enzyme just to rehydrate and refreshen their skin. So there's so many ways of taking our little treatment program for our client based on their skin, because every time they come in, please reassess their skin at every single time. You might find that they do are healing a lot quicker, and you might be able to intensify their treatment a lot quicker than you originally thought. Or they're not healing as quickly as you thought. Maybe their skin is just that little bit sluggish. It doesn't have that. Maybe they might not be doing their home care properly as well. So you might bring it back down again as well. So always reassess our clients and have fun with it. Don't get so hooked up into, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Reassess it, go add something else. You might add a serum or an enhancer, or you might change the pill level. So always reassess and play and make sure that we are going with our clients' needs at all times. And lastly, it's really important to cool down. Now, cool down is essential. We want to make sure that they are not using all of those AHAs, BHAs, and retinols after their treatment. If they are using that straight after their treatment, we could get a little bit of irritation. We've already exfoliated so intensely. We don't then want to add more acids and more retinol for the next, 24 to 48 hours after the treatment. So it's really important for the next couple of days after a treatment, sometimes even up to a week, depending on the level of the acid we've done, we want to put calming botanicals in there. We want to soothe. We want to put anti-inflammatories, antioxidants. We want to definitely have tyrosinase inhibitors in there as well. And just use a gentle cleanser that is not going to exfoliate or irritate the skin. If we can have a moisturizer that's going to feed the skin with nutrients to help support it in its healing process is also important. Also, to use a mineral makeup. Mineral makeup is so important at applying after a skin treatment and then post-treatment for the next few weeks or during the whole treatment, really. A mineral makeup is a must because that can be applied straight after the treatment as well, and there'll be no risk of any adverse reactions, irritation, and it's not going to clog and irritate the skin, which is really important. We don't want to put anything on there that's going to irritate at all. Now, that is our webinar on prepping the skin. Hopefully everyone has really enjoyed that webinar and that you're all ready to start prepping all of your clients' skin for their skin journeys over the winter time. So if anyone has any questions, pop them down onto the chat. More than happy to answer anything for you. If not, please join us next month for our treating different skin conditions, which Rachel will be taking. And then have a great week, guys. Rachel, has there been any questions that we haven't been able to answer during the chat?
No, we've been able to answer all of them, but it was really informative.
Perfect. So thank you again for joining us. Loved having you all here as well. And we'll see you all next month.
See you guys next month.
Bye.
Bye.